12 years and had spent all she had on physicians who were unable to treat her, so then went to Jesus, touched the fringe of his clothes, and was healed. Council stated that in the event of the death of such individuals who seek healing intervention in church, it would be outrageous to blame the administration or management of the particular church for the deaths. And the public 2018 LR, Judge Muridi, and council stated that the state is in such proceedings required to provide to properly indicate to the respondent the likely charges that he will face, the basis for the investigations in the form of a draft charge sheet annexed to the affidavit in support of the motion. This court may the states rejoin that. In rejoining that, the submissions by the respondent, Mr. Kiprop urged that sufficient grounds had been presented to the court through the support of the affidavits against the detention of the respondent inmates. Mr. Jami submitted that the decision of Betty Genotai was or is by incurium insofar as it referred to and addressed the issue of holding charge sheets as the same did not consider or take the cue from the earlier authority of Samuel Cheriot Araplanan and the public, Chesoni J. Yazid and was in 1982 Kelan, where the finding has been made that a holding charge sheet does not exist in law. So now the issue for determination. From the record, it is instructive that the state seeks orders to detain the respondents at Maputo Police Station in Mombasa County for a period of 30 days so as to enable the investigation team to complete investigations and submit the police files to the DPP for review. The grounds that have been proffered by the state as constituting compelling reasons to detain the respondent are discernible as follows: that the investigating team is undertaking investigations relating to serious crimes that the respondent is guilty and by conspiracies suspected to have committed, including but not limited to all those offenses that are mentioned, which by nature and gravity are serious and complex and constitute compelling grounds to deny bail. In their view, B, the respondent may influence or interfere with witnesses, and that constitutes a compelling reason for his detention pending investigation. C, that the fact that the Shakahola massacre, quote unquote, has received public notoriety renders the investigations into the cemetery of great public interest and sufficiently compelling to warrant the detention of the respondent. Now, the issue for determination is whether the three grounds above that have been presented by the constitute compelling grounds or reasons, and subject thereto whether there has been provided sufficient material to establish their existence. Our analysis and findings. Bail is a constitutional right as enshrined in Article 49(1) of the Constitution of Kenya. A person who has been arrested on suspicion of committing a criminal offense can only be denied bail if there are compelling reasons for such denial. Thus then, the constitutional standard for denying bail to an arrested person who has been presented before court is the compelling reasons test. As properly submitted by Mr. Magolo, the burden to demonstrate that the reasons for denial of bail, that there are reasons for denial of bail, lies on the prosecution and to establish bond policy guidelines at page 19. On the above basis, it is clear that the order sought for detention of the response or of the respondent is a discretionary one. A discretionary order may be issued in a case where the court has considered the material placed before it, provided that the discretion is exercised judiciously. Again, see R versus Milton, Kabulit, and 60 others, 2020 January. Then, in the case of Republic and Danford, Kabag and Wani, Justice Matibo set out what would amount basically to what compelling reason to do. It's a long citation, but it's a long quote. But the case is Republic versus Danford, Kabag and Wani, 2016 January. Through it. But of importance is he has pointed out the nature of the charges, the likelihood of the accused interfering with witnesses or suppressing any evidence that may be incriminating, and the interests of the public. He has specifically stated. He has stated many, but those are the ones that I wish to highlight. The jurisprudence that emerges from the authorities above is in part that the seriousness in nature of the offences that are under investigation, the likelihood that the accused person may interfere with witnesses, I'll repeat that. The jurisprudence that emerges from the authorities above is in part that the seriousness in nature of the offences that are under investigation, the likelihood that the accused person may interfere with witnesses or may suppress any evidence that may incriminate him, and the interest of the public, if the same outweighs the right to liberty of the respondent, if proved on a balance of probabilities and compelling reasons for the denial of bond. I will now turn to the issue whether on a balance of probabilities, the state has proved the three compelling reasons above. The state made allegations against the respondent that he is suspected to have committed criminal offences or otherwise connected to Paul Mackenzie and or the Shakahola massacre, which the respondent, through his counsel, vehemently denied. It is to be remembered that this court is not at this stage conducting a trial to determine whether the respondent committed the alleged offences or whether he has connections with Paul Mackenzie and the Shakahola massacre or not. That will be for the trial court to the position of the investigations yet to act on. No doubt, the mass media, including newspapers, radio, television, and the internet, have recently been and continue to be awash with news on the still unfolding most unfortunate events of the massacre at Shakahola Forest, and the public is generally alarmed at the discovery of bodies reported to have been buried in mass graves, pointing to possible complex criminal acts which are said to have resulted in at least 100 people being killed or starved to death over a substantial period of time. The collective interest of the public, no doubt, is that those involved in the criminal activities leading to the loss of lives of that magnitude in the unprecedented Shakahola massacre must be brought to book. The public remains anxious. Further, it goes without saying that as a preacher and admittedly the strength behind the Newlife Prayer Center, the respondent wields immense influence over his followers and congregants. This perhaps is best portrayed by the mammoth attendances that he attracts in the church services, events that he holds, as has been seen in the past from media reports, who are not named, but only referred to as the respondent's followers or church members. The respondent indeed has influence over persons whom he may not himself know, as the names have been withheld, but who may be witnessed. The matter concerning the Shakahola massacre, as stated above, is one of grave public interest. The state urged that the respondents may be linked to the same, and having found that for the respondent to be detained on the three compelling reasons of the possibility of interference with witnesses, that is one, the interest of the public is the second, and the seriousness in nature of the offenses under investigations. We have seen from case law above that any of the three grounds, when proved to the required standard, meet the compelling reasons tests. But then, the specifics of the investigations the state wishes to complete, as per the submissions of the state, are not disclosed, save for the intention to record the statements of witnesses. That being the case, this court will in the premises take it that the time sought is. I opine that it will be sufficient for the investigators to carry out the exercise in a much shorter period of time, considering that the same goes to the very root of a constitutional right, the right to liberty. Now, as regards the submission by the respondent's counsel that failure by the deponent to the affidavit in support of the application to annex a holding or draft charge sheet renders the application insufficient and defective, I note that whereas that was the holding of the Kimaru jail, as it then was, that indeed that such an application should not exist in law. It is further instructive that from all other decisions cited above, that the court did not refer to the document known as a draft or holding charge. Of course, a challenge is posed to this court when two conflicting authorities are presented before it, but it would obviously not be the place of this court to declare or make a finding that the decision of Betty Jerutai Kiveiywa is by curiam, as suggested by Mr. Jami, for not considering. I know you want me to repeat that. Mr. Jami. Of course, a challenge is posed to this court when two conflicting authorities are presented before it, but it would obviously not be in the place of this court to declare or make a finding that the decision of Betty Jerutai is by curiam, as suggested by Mr. Jami, for not considering the position that Chesoni J took on the matter in the decision of Samuel Cheriot Arap Manat. Doing so would be stepping outside the limits of my jurisdiction, more so considering that the two decisions were by courts superior to this court and courts of concurrent jurisdiction. In my view, it is adequate that the respondent has been informed through the instant application and supporting affidavit of the reason or reasons, and repeat that. In my view, it is adequate that the respondent has been informed through the instant application and supporting affidavit the reason or reasons for his detention in line with Article 49(1)(g) of the Constitution, having been brought before this court within 24 hours of his apprehension. In the result, being of the foregoing inclinations, and being of the belief that the state or police have continued to make good use of the period of about 5 days during which the respondent has been in police custody at Makupa and Port police stations in Mombasa, I will allow the state's motion dated 28 April 2023 in the following terms. That the respondent shall be detained at Port police station in Mombasa for a period of 7 days, which period shall run from the 27th of April 2023, being the date that he was arrested and placed in police custody. For avoidance of doubt, the detention period herein shall lapse on the 4th May 2023 at 0900 hours. I'll repeat that. That the respondent shall be detained at Port police station, Mombasa, for a period of 7 days, which period shall run from the 27th of April 2023, being the date that he was arrested and placed in police custody, and for avoidance of doubt, the detention period ordered herein shall lapse on the 4th of May 2023 at 0900 hours. I hope that is clear. B, that this matter shall be mentioned on the 4th of May at 9 in the morning for the state to appraise the court on the status of the investigation and for further orders. C. Parties to be at liberty to apply for any other appropriate, relevant, and or desired orders. And orders accordingly.
I say, thank you very much. We appreciate. We don't receive such resource rulings so late. I was seeking a small clarification with the last order.
You'll get a copy of the ruling. I'll print it right away. You'll get copies. We'll print it out.
The clarification that I'm seeking, I'm sorry, is one, it is clear that we are coming before you on Thursday. That is on 4th of May. And it is clear that you have deemed the period sufficient. Maybe what I needed and I wish to go on record, and in the circumstances on coming on Thursday, we are coming either to be discharged or at the very least to be given our bond so that this man can go home. And that there will be no entertainment of any application or seeking any incarceration from my friend Mr. Young, because that will negate everything that you have done. If that one was to come out very clearly, then even Mr. Jami will be relieved.
And if I'll add the second application that we have with regard to the defense, that the application that you have rendered a ruling on has no prayers given those powers. This is the only court, Your Honor, we are for the respondent. Probably the court, the state can highlight, because the state is here, under which authority have they closed the church and also the TV station. Probably they might be telling us on the basis of that, because which is a fundamental right to worship. The state can respond or present documents, because if the closure of the church is in relation to this investigation, it could have been part of the affidavit and part of the prayers. It's nowhere. John, among the issues that we were going to raise before we removed our application is the character of the state in this matter. Parishioners, congregants need to pray. On those two questions, we don't need to go to another court, because the state has not dragged our client to any other court. It is this court. Probably, Your Honor, the state can highlight on those two issues, and if they run away from it, then let the whole world know that the utterances of public officers on TV were illegal. They were not formed by any authority, by the judiciary.
Maybe I can just say one line. For you to go to court, then you must get orders. Those orders are the ones that then you serve on the person whose fundamental right you want to stop. But as you do that, you must also give that person a chance to be able to respond. In this particular instance, nothing has happened. If the state can, the reason why fundamental rights are there is to prevent excesses of the state, and this is an excess.
And Your Honor, briefly before my president adds something. In the Garissa attack, the Garissa University attack, you finalize. In the Garissa terrorist attack, the Garissa University terrorist attack, where more than 400 students died, there was no Muslim church or mosque or radio station that was closed. Neither was there any Muslim cleric who was arrested. In the Kikambala issue, none of...
I think, Mr.
I've only finished that. Yes.
The analogy you're drawing here, I think it looks, they're very...
Let me tamper it.
Are very healthy.
Let me tamper it slowly. That it is discriminatory, religious discrimination from the state in terms of how they are handling the Christian faith. Mr. President can go.
You know, like,
I believe I've not been, no application has been made for you to say.
No.
Because then, you see that would amount to be in matter of orders, which I do not have powers to do.
yes, Your Honor, coming in at the tail end of the proceedings, we just wanted to place ourselves on record, considering that there is a mention that will be coming up on the 4th of May, so that then we can be able to participate in this matter.
For which particular?
Yes, Your Honor, for the record, my name is Eric Theuri. I do appear together with a few of my learned colleagues for the victims. I'll just give you the names. Your Honor, we have Tukero Lekina.
I have already recorded the number of reasons.
All right.
There was
I'm not so sure who was present because. All right.
Those issues were being raised within the community. Raising those issues are not for now.
Yes, yes.
For today, I'm just recording the appearances. And so, Mr. Daily West.
The Law Society will be appearing for the victims. Your Honor, we have a difficulty because as of this time, in terms of the evolving nature of the investigations, it's extremely difficult to ascertain exactly who
so that we can then be able to participate in any further proceedings that may be taken place. That is all.
Anything you wish to say? For the state?
Yes,
Maybe before you hand over to the state, I just wanted to add and suggest that, Your Honor, apart from those whose names appear on the court records, that if anybody would like to appear, maybe now that we are coming back on Thursday, then there should be need to seek leave so that if we would like to respond, we know how to respond to them. I didn't want to interrupt Mr. President because I intend to apply for a PC next year. But, Your Honor, there need to be regulation. Those who are not named as parties here need to seek your leave, and we need to respond to their applications.
Your Honor, can I say something about that?
we cannot abuse the process of this honorable court as the state or as the DPP. If we come on Thursday, today and Thursday, there are new developments that are warranting for us to make a fresh application seeking continued detention, then we have a duty under the law to make such application. But the very least is that it is going to be malicious or for any ulterior motives. Your Honor, so that as you give that clarification, it cannot be a bar.
Don't put this on record, Your Honor, but when the state says that, like, sorry, I'm shocked that the state is saying that they cannot abuse power or malicious, and yet this is routine. This is in their DNA, but don't put it on record.
Your Honor, in response to or a comment on what my senior colleague, Mr. Johnston Omari, whom we respect, said, we respect the opinion of the court or the comments of the court on that. It's not an application. We, for one, wouldn't know where to start from in responding. All we can advise our colleagues is that there's the commission authority? Communication Authority of Kenya, where the chair of the CEO is Kiloba. They can direct their petitions for information there. And we'll also be interested in. Yes, and there's also a tribunal. They can take their petitions there, and the petitions can be heard. This is basically what we are saying is it's not the right forum. We never mentioned it in our application. We never took responsibility. Yes. Yes.
What I say there,
Yes.
basically this court has not been possibly properly seized on those issues. Right?
Yes.
So that would have gone to an application basically from another council.
Yes.
Which was they were to seek to have
Yes.
station on the charter.
Yes.
If they are closed, I think.
Yeah. Lastly, Your Honor, on what the President has said on behalf of the victims, but for now, we request the state, we request the Honorable Court to speak to the members of the fourth estate who are here, not to cite the names of the victims in the papers, and maybe they can use the initials, because investigations are still going on. I have been reading the papers and I've been seeing mentions of victims by their names. Some of them are minors, so it is important that
There seems to be a
Let's
In our case,
be honest, they don't be abused.
yes, yes.
Yes. Yes, Your Honor, it would start. Yes, yes. Yes, Your Honor, but I believe they have had us and they will know what to do. They have regulations. Yes.
They can also go to the media council.
Yes.
Yeah. And otherwise, thanks for the very well-reasoned ruling. We are requesting for a copy. Who is asking for his clarification? I will sit down at this particular point.
Clarification is different.
Yes.
I need to clarify further. If I read parties to be at liberty to apply for any other appropriate and or relevant and or desired orders on 4th May 2023, also depending on the prevailing circumstances. And which includes, for instance, an application for bonds. And I said for instance.
God is what I wanted to hear.
Thank you so much. So the court shall rise.